This is Dr. Elena Richardson. Log entry is 007, March 3rd, 2163. And with him lies our salvation. For as he gains in strength, so do they fall in numbers. The priests command the armies to the north and south, but he controls the fight. The inner circle of death is where he resides, hunting them at the far reaches of the earth and beyond. I am a believer now. I feel it is in doom that I have faith. The Slayer is the spear that stabs at the heart of our attackers, and those that would seek to harm us should feel warned. For there is only one dominant life form in this universe, and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance. All hail the coming of the Destroyer. The Slayer's time is now.
The flesh tenderized. Once enough pain has been inflicted and the spirit broken, the soul is ready for the extraction process. Up ahead is Kalalas, the sightless judge. It determines who is fit to begin the soul extraction process. The rest will be discarded to the blood swamps. Once the spirit is broken and enough pain has been inflicted, only when the human is lost.
You're on.
Ring, ring, ring! Hello, priest, and welcome back to Krown's magical Doom Cave.
Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a glorious Monday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. I got a good night of sleep last night. Got all kinds of energy right now. Doom music pumping in the background. And as always, I want to remind anyone who's new here, or if you are new here, maybe this is a PSA right now. For the titles of these videos, always understand the titles of the video have very little to do with the actual content of the video itself. And more importantly, while all higher term timeframes are still very much bearish, I would be saying that Bitcoin actually does look like it wants to have a little bit of a short-term uppity up right here, pretty much in line with what we did see over the weekends, and Bitcoin more or less just kind of ranging on the lows. There's one big saying that my mentor taught me. One big saying indeed, and it went something a little bit like this: never short a dull market. And realistically, I do think while Bitcoin is kind of in trouble right here, I do think that it's going to take a little bit more time. I still stick with my sort of initial projection that this week is the week of reckoning, whether you're looking for upside or downside. But more importantly, I would be looking for a resolution somewhere around Wednesday or Thursday, most likely. Where is he? There he is. What's up, Mr. Angie G? I like big tits from California. I also like big tits from California as well, and we have very much in common. Would you like to go get a coffee sometime? Anyways, sorry. I'll turn off the alerts for right now. There we go. Anyways, what do we have going on in the Krown Chain application? Would be found at app.crunchy.net. Well, we see a lot of things, actually. We see Bitcoin dominance continue to trend up. So as we did say over the past couple months here, no matter what Bitcoin does from this area, altcoins getting boo cake sandwiched across the Bitcoin pairing. Now versus US dollar, it's not necessarily the same thing, of course. It means that we do need to see whichever way Bitcoin essentially goes versus US dollars is where altcoins are going to fall. However, in general, if Bitcoin does go to the downside, altcoin's going to get a lot more sandwiched and shish kebab to the downside more than Bitcoin. And of course, the upside, they probably just don't follow as much versus US dollar. Anyways, Fear and Green Index also at a 19 right now from a 15 read yesterday. And as you can imagine, we've been in the most fearful zone for the longest time, realistically since the last actual bear market in 2018, 2019, in fact. Anyways, with that said, do we see anything that's winning in the last 24 hours? Yeah, we do. Clayton, NEM, Siacoin, Ontology, and then a bunch of stable coins, actually. So what do these all have in common? They're shit coins, baby. They're motherfucking shit coins. Siacoin, NEM, and I actually don't know Clayton, so I can't really say that about amongst that. And if you are new here, understand that shit coins is just a loving terminology. It's just a term of endearment, if you will. Into the market data tab we go, and I want to once again highlight what we saw yesterday on the global exchanges net flows. Now remember, we did have a big event, I believe it was either yesterday or today, with GBTC unlock. And what did we see from that? Well, we actually saw the biggest inflow to exchanges realistically since February, actually. And this is a humongously impressive read right here. We saw 28.7 thousand Bitcoins being flown into exchanges. And what are they going to do with that? They're doing it to buy altcoins on margin. Duh. No, they're using it to long their fucking longs. No, they're using it to cover their goddamn margins and probably sell. Realistically, that is typically a bearish sort of thing. And we actually see something relatively similar, not necessarily on the highs of Bitcoin, but on that first stab up to $40,000, which Bitcoin did get about a 30% pullback from that region relatively aggressively, and then set it up for the distributive phase about a couple months later. What's up, Mr. Scott Carney? Oh, there he is. Of course, man. Of fucking course. How you doing, brother? Anyways, do we see anything else that is of interest right here? How about open interest? We do see open interest starting to creep up a little bit more. Still want to see it take a slight leg up above 5 billion, and that's going to cause a lot of confidence, at least for myself, for a trending move in whichever direction Bitcoin is currently trending, which in this case, the trawl trends on the higher term timeframes are to the downside right now, even the weekly now as well. Anyways, with that said, we do see that the global leverage ratio is actually creeping up as well to the same levels that we did see pretty much on the highs. That's not a bearish or bullish signal, but it is a signal that we are looking at a major resolution extremely soon. I think it's this week. I think it's probably either, I think it could be any day this week, but realistically, Wednesday and Thursday do have the more statistical probability to produce those bigger moves. if you want to go through a historical analysis of that. So let's go over here into the actual price action charts themselves. We'll start off with the higher term time frames today. No pussyfooting around on this one, because what did Bitcoin do on the last weekly closure, last night at 8 p.m. Eastern time? It broke everything. No, what do we have going on right here? We closed on new lows, so we quite literally officially have a downtrend on the weekly. If you are a more conservative trader, you look at this as your first lower low for the first time in, well, going all the way back on over here, realistically. And more importantly, we broke the 55 exponential average represented by this green line right here, which is kind of like the meme right now within this market, that Bitcoin does not like to break the 55 on its bull markets. Technically speaking, I mean, that has been true, but realistically, it's a 21 that's actually had a lot more significance, historically speaking, for Bitcoin over the long period of time. You can see that the 55 just generally supports long term, and anytime that Bitcoin actually even has tested it from an upside posturing has been essentially the end of the bull market. So while Bitcoin probably does have a little bit of short-term upside right here, like very, very short-term upside, understand where the big stop, understand where the big stops are on price action right now. 55 on the weekly right here is going to be a natural area just below 33,000 bucks, and the 10 simple governing price action as it does come down a little bit more aggressively here too. So with all of that said, we do have, I believe, a 5-day closure coming later today, and this is the next sort of thing that I'd be looking for confirmation of very likely a move a little bit lower into, at the very least, 30,000 bucks, but realistically, I'd be looking at about 27,000 bucks. And it's based off the Gaussian channel right here, of which, again, we are closing this later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And if we do close this below the median, which we are healthily below that right now, it's about 34,500-ish region, even above Bitcoin's last daily high, in fact, then I would be looking at Bitcoin as very, 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 very likely to just kind of mosey its way on down. Does it have a nuke? Does it have just a nice slow fall? I don't know. But more importantly, I would be looking for that next move to the downside, and very likely a bounce there. So again, best case for Bulas, if you've been tuning in this channel for the last 2.5 months, best case for Bulas is sideways, going sideways AF. If you're old like me, that means as fuck for the newer generations out there. And more importantly with that, could we see a sideways, a general sideways here with a few fake outs to the downside? Yes, I still think that that's, a part of the Bula hopium, maybe a quick wick down to either 30,000 or this level that I'm talking about right here, the $27,000 level, the bottom side of this Gaussian channel. Both of those would be a potential for a bit of a bear trap. However, as of right now, again, all higher time frames are of course bearish. And if we go into the low term time frames, like I did say earlier, I do think that Bitcoin actually does have a little bit of short term upside here. We do see several lower term time frame momentum oscillators lining up for a bit of a signal here. In fact, we do see 4-hour Joule kind of swinging back around. We got a pretty damn good signal coming off the prior low at about 31,000 bucks before that moved to about 32.5, and now I suspect it's going to come back down around the fib and probably line up for a better signal. So do we have a little bit of short-term upside? Probably yes. I think same thing on the hourly as well. In fact, yes, it's already lining up for a signal right here. The second that this one turns cyan for anyone who has the Joule, that'll look pretty damn good, and probably does beget another move back up somewhere north of 32,000 bucks. This move over the weekend was a little bit of a fake out. Of course, this is more or less a complex low of what we're looking at right now. But again, all of this is even below the weekly levels to begin with. So none of this really does all that much of anything for price action. And if we are giving the biggest Bula hopium possible right now, it'd still be this, at least in my mind, for the short term. And it would be something resembling a falling channel, which is statistically speaking a more bullish resolve formation than bearish. However, in order to resolve it, we need to crack back above the top side of it, or more importantly, or more impressively speaking, take out the last daily high right here, which is about 34,250. If you want to be a little more aggressive playing the actual structure itself, that would be about 33.7 now, as this does get drawn out longer and longer. In fact, we can draw this down a little bit more, and actually no, we'd lower that a little bit more. It's more like 33.6, 33.5 region. So if Bitcoin could take that area out to the upside, technically speaking, we would have a technical target all the way back up a little bit north of 36,000 bucks, and that starts to make things look a lot better for a potential bear trap going on in here, as we would even have, I believe, something resembling a weekly bullish engulfing if that were to happen. But again, understand that the lower term time frames, like a 4-hour, like an hourly, I mean, anything really realistically under a daily right now is just not going to contend all that well with a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, and semi-annual. All of those time frames do, I suspect, suggest that at best Bitcoin goes sideways between about 30,000 and 40,000 bucks still. That's in my opinion, again, best case scenario for the rest of summer most likely. And of course, best case scenario for Barras is resolution this week to the downside, of which we do want to follow up on the, was it this chart over here? No, it's just this chart over here actually, our time fib chart, which we did take a time fib all the way from our October breakout to our February highs right here. And as you can see, all of the other subsequent time extensions have actually lined up with some pretty damn good moves on price action, getting getting this high right here, getting this high right here, getting this high right here, about this high right here, this low right here actually. And we actually did just put in another one a few days ago, as you know, as of right now. And this is the first real trading day that we've seen since we actually crossed this extension right here. What does that mean? It means that it's the first like actual, traditional trading day. It's not a fucking weekend is what I'm trying to say. And more importantly with that, could we see this as a bit of a pivot, in this case to the upside? Yes, it could be a bit of a short term for that. Let's see what the moons say on top of that. The moons are bearish. No! How dare they? How dare those fucking moon witches get this one right again? But overall, I think that actually does go until the 24th or so, which is rather interesting because that would be the next one, which is really fucking strange. I can't explain why or how that's been working, but I guess at the end of the day, at the end of the day, look at it yourself and decide for yourself. Of course, that's the best way to be doing it. I'm just sharing my stupid opinion on the internet, of which you can not listen to or listen to, whatever you want to do. It's your life, of course. But I do want to show my options trades ongoing here. Again, this is a testnet account. This is not real money. I want to be very, very transparent with that. Not fucking real money because, well, I don't want people to think that, like, well, one, I have an account here because it's fucking illegal, and two, it's also, well, it's just, I'm not getting this fucking 4 Bitcoin profit that I would be if this was real, which is actually kind of a nice payday for a couple weeks trade right there. Anyways, what have I done and what will I be doing, assuming that we maybe don't move out of the range this weekend? Well, I bought the 3038 strangle right here 10 times on expiring this week, actually. So these are kind of all premium right now, and I will be bleeding out unless if we do move above or below 30,000 or 38,000 bucks right there. Now, of course, what I have done on the other side is actually gone ahead and done a bit more of a spread on. I've spread out my strangles. No, what I've done here is I've sold 2 strangles against each other. So I bought the 3236 strangle, yes, and then I sold the 2064 against it. Didn't get filled on all legs here, but I did sell the $80,000 strike calls against it, just to kind of reduce cost a little bit. And seeing as this is expiring in regular Septembers, I don't think that we're making new all-time highs there anyways, so I felt a little bit more confident to put a bit more on that leg. Now you can see I'm actually printing a bit more of a negative result right there, but that's mostly marks in this case if I wanted to. And if you actually want to try this yourself, this is a little bit dastardly right here, but what I can show you is this. If you want to really play around with your marks, this is technically illegal to do in traditional markets, but this is a testnet account and it's also not traditional markets. So let's see, can we just do actually 0.1? There we go, and there we go. Okay, boom, and then you can tighten up your marks, and what do you know, it's gonna make it a lot more what's it called, fuck, I'm looking for my words right now, but it's gonna make it a lot more good on the marks. Jesus fucking Christ, man, I can't find my words today. Dear Lord, man, dear Lord. All right, well, fair enough. I need to take another sippy sip of this tea, and then we'll get back into the lower term timeframes, because there actually is a few interesting things going on there still. It's oh so good right now. It's oh so good. I started drinking this yerba mate tea, by the way. If you want something like different than coffee, I think this is actually pretty damn good, man. You don't get the fucking jitters like you typically do with coffee, but you still get that alertness that is really, really nice, actually. All right, that was cool. Anyways, okay, so let's go through the lower term timeframes right here, and let's see what we got going on. Actually, before we go through the lower term timeframes, I do want to check out what we're looking like on our momentum charts right here. Of course, everything is still all the way down, but let's just see where those inflection points are in the short-term timeframes. We do see daily will be pointing back up with any sort of a closure above 32,000 bucks on daily Stokes. I think 2-day is right around there as well, 32.5, and that's closing tonight, by the way. And then the 5 days also gonna be closing tonight, and the magical number for this one is actually 32,650. So they're all kind of within that region, all within striking distance on the short-term timeframe. So Bitcoin could close above there by end of day tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, anywhere above 32.5, let's call it. I would be looking for Bitcoin to put in another rally before any potential dooms drop. And still, the risk is still very much there, but that would be sort of my line in the sand for right now. If you do want to look at this as more likely to push off sooner rather than later, so to speak. Anyways, not racist, says Amuna. What is going on right there? I love me some heavy diarrhea. There you go. Okay, so let's go through the lower term time frames right now. We did actually see another drive of Phantom Bull Div coming on the 4 hour right there. Let's come off of this low right here. Technically speaking, we already got the move to the 21, so not anything too interesting as of right now. But like I said, with not momentum, but volatility indicators like our BBWP all on the ground right here. I mean, it's actually reasonable to think that we might see a move today outside of the range. On the 4 hour, we are quite literally on the floor, 0.79 percentile. Daily is expanding actually at 8.73 percentile, and I think even the hourly is probably coming all the way down to 2.38 percentile right here as well. So everything's kind of cooked up, rounded up, and I think we are probably looking at a short-term move to the upside. First, we could use the same area as the weekend. And for anyone wondering over the weekend, I did say that if Bitcoin took out this high right here, I would be looking for a move up to about 32.5 or so. This move was that move to 32.5. It got up to about 32.450 or so, and realistically then got rejected. But what does this mean? Well, over the weekend, essentially, I don't really look for any breaks out of the short-term time frame ranges. And I mean, technically speaking, it actually did pretty much hit the target right there. And I still think that it's a little bit available. But now, because we do have this price action already in our face, we could just use the weekend high as a continuation point. I don't need to see a closure above there. If we get a closure above there, that's great. But either a 4 hour above about 32, whatever this high is right here, 32.150, or just a wick higher than this area right here. I wouldn't necessarily look for a full-on move to the top side of the channel just yet. I would be looking for a move around our last little breakdown area right here. So it is a little bit more of a muted move right there, 300-ish region. At some point, it will naturally coincide with the top side of this falling channel. So maybe if we approach from this area right here, and then obviously that can insinuate higher targets in the short-term timeframes first before a potential dooms drop. But at the end of the day, again, understand that all higher-term timeframes are bearish right now. And if we make this as easy as possible, as we did yesterday, or just as in my opinion, as obvious as possible, if I showed you this chart, what would you say? I mean, it looks pretty fucking ugly, man. We have a head and shoulders within a head and shoulders right there. Now, I would also agree with sentiment, or just the general sort of TA knowledge, that the longer that Bitcoin does drag out on this right-hand shoulder, the more and more less likely it's not going to act as like that. And I do think that is still very much applicable to this. But as you can see, your right shoulder would have been coming in right around here at about $40,000 or 40,450. You want to be super exact. And technically speaking, we've been downtrending ever since. So that is still available, to be fair, as long as we are below this last sort of high structure right here. If you're looking at that falling channel, it would still have about the same targets as the high side of this area on that failed rally at about $36,000. So I would still look at these as kind of one of the same. Basically, as long as Bitcoin's below $36,000, it ain't looking too hot right there, obviously. But can we have a pump back up even around there intra week before a potential move in the other direction? Yeah, I do think so. That's what makes this a little bit more difficult. Even if you're early, you're wrong, as the saying goes. And right now, like I said, I mean, the short-term timeframes do kind of look like they want to have a little bit of a move to the upside first. But let's go back and check out on the Gaussian channel on the daily. And what do you know? Where's the bottom side of it coming in around? It's actually pretty much coming in around that lower term time frame falling channel region to the upside, about 33,500-ish region. Obviously coming down over time as well. But here's the one silver lining on this. Again, the longer that this goes sideways, the more inevitable this will just level out. And if this starts to level out, we will actually start to print some bullish signals on that. I wouldn't necessarily call that a full-on great signal in and of itself, but we could start to use the median of this as a reversal point for the higher term timeframes. But again, as long as we don't get the three major signals that I'm looking for a macro low, I am very hesitant to call any sort of sustained long-term upside. And again, even if you are super fucking bullish on this price action, even if I'm going to turn around to be super fucking bullish on this price action, I don't think it happens today. I don't think it happens tomorrow. I don't even think it happens this month or next month. It happens, probably September, October area, with Bitcoin just drifting sideways here without actually having a full-on meltdown. Again, I strongly believe that that's the best case scenario for blue laws. And if we do see that accompanied by a blue buy signal on the hash rooms indicator right here, that'll look pretty fucking good. Unfortunately, right now, we don't see that. We are very, 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 very far away from that. In fact, we haven't even seen a convergence on these two moving parts of this indicator. So it's not even possible anytime soon to just put it fucking bluntly. We had a few chances way back when in May, did not get taken. And this is, well, drifting, if you will. On top of that, I want to see a higher low on the daily at the very least. And we don't have that. We quite literally have a downturn right now. And then the third one, and I would even say most important one, but the other two need to be in place first and foremost before this becomes reasonable. But if you're looking to time it, it would be the BBWP on the daily getting all the way down here, of which it already is pretty much. If it's anywhere below 10 percentile, that's good enough for me. And looking for expansion from there, we're looking at a 30 to 50% move, of which we are, coming in from that region anyways. And anytime that we have seen it come in from that region, we have seen at the very minimum a 30% move on the daily, and as much as, multiple hundreds of percent of moves over the next, few months. So in this case right here, to the downside, that's going to line up with everyone's favorite targets, 24,000 and 19,000 bucks respectively. Do I think that Bitcoin could go lower than that over time? I think it's rather unlikely based off of the hash rumors indicator that we did speak about over the weekend and the prior week. But weird things do happen, obviously. I just say that it's rather unlikely, seeing as that has not really happened in the history of Bitcoin, at least 1 out of 11 times it has not happened, that is. Anyways, what else was I going to say? Maybe I've lost my train of thought. Maybe it's time to get in the comment section. Oh yes, that's right. Okay, so here's where things get a little more nasty. So let's go check out traditional markets really quick. Where is my traditional markets? Let's actually start off with NASDAQ today. So I released a short video on this, I think last night. I had it scheduled basically for like my bedtime, or like way past my bedtime. Anyways, more importantly with this, we did get the sort of things that we've been looking for on a potential, at least medium-term reversal for NASDAQ. We have hit around our first sort of short-term target at 14.6. I would be looking for this to open up on a bounce this week, maybe even trade back up to 14.750, maybe even 14.800 if things get really crazy. But ultimately, after a quick pop back up, probably around US Open today, I would be looking for that to get pushed back on and probably come back down somewhere around about 14,500-ish region. And that is going to be the big one for me. If we do start to falter below there, I would be looking for the next sort of general corrective phase on this one to happen. Probably looking at a 5 to 10% correction at first, and then we'll come back to it after that. But the weekly looks toppy right here. I do think that traditional markets are probably at the very least short-term, medium-term pulley backy, and at worst, maybe we do see a bit of a reversal here. Now, long term, is this in any way, shape, or form in danger of putting in a downtrend right now? Absolutely fucking not. I mean, it needs to come back down below 13,450-ish region, but you can see that we can very easily come back down to 14.3, 14,250-ish region, really not do all that much damage to this one overall, and maybe even continue with a long-term uptrend. I mean, let's look at the monthly right now too. Monthly looks toppy-ish as well, bit of a shooting star dildo, but still got 11 days left to go in the trading month, so it's a bit too early to kind of analyze this one, to be fair. Of course, we should put this on linear scale, but at the end of the day, to be fair, and I don't want to toot my own horn here too much, but we pretty much did hit my $15,000 target, and I feel that's going to be the best call I ever make in my life. I called that way the fuck back on over here, not in March 2020, but in either April or May 2020, and I can't fucking believe that. Can't fucking believe it actually happened. I mean, this is just ridiculous. In that short amount of time, I thought it was going to happen in 2 or 3 years. It happened in about a year. It's Jesus Christ, man. This market is just insane right now. But overall, weakness within the stock market, while these two assets have not really been that strongly correlated, especially in the past 2 to 3 months, I do think is not going to help out Bitcoin, more importantly. While Bitcoin does not necessarily like to participate on the upside moves, it certainly likes to participate on the downside moves. We still do see that correlation, unfortunately. I think same thing on SPY as well. Yep, this one's looking a little bit more toppy to me as well here. Weekly, same thing. Probably comes down to the 10 simple at 42.60 or so. And, well, hope for a bounce there, and we'll see what happens after that. But could this be the big short opportunity that Mr. Michael Burry was talking about? Maybe yes. I mean, there's certainly a lot of things that are not looking too hot right now, but here's what I kind of shape up my thoughts on Bitcoin as before we move into the comment section. Oh, my bad. T coming up right now. Apologies for that one. Anyways, as long as Bitcoin's below, 34,250-ish region on a daily and above basically our low structure of this weekend, then, it's kind of hard to look for a big trending move outside of that range. However, the second that we take out the bottom side of this area, and realistically all the higher term timeframes that did close over the weekend do not fucking look good, I would be looking for that next move down. 30,000 bucks, probably short-term bounce there, then 27,000 bucks, probably short-term bounce there. Both of those two areas could be potential bear traps, but what I need to see is a conclusive closure above on that same day. If it's 30,000 bucks, it needs to be above about 31.5. If it's 27,000 bucks, it need to be above about 30,000 bucks for myself as well. If that would happen, that would look pretty damn good for Bulas as well. But if those bounces do fail, then yeah, $24,000 and $19,000 respectively, and you can kiss this market goodbye for at least another year, I'd say, maybe up to 2 years. But I do suspect, if you do want the one silver lining, if we really truly do break down and initiate like very long-term downside, I don't think it would be as long as prior cycles. To be fair, the reason why I said that is because for right now, we've really only seen Bitcoin go straight up in this bull market from about October to April, breaking upon the prior all-time high. Not even a full year. So very likely the resolution phase for the bearish trend wouldn't be as long. It wouldn't be like a 2-year long thing like we did see over here. In fact, this one was about three years long, but keep in mind that we went up straight up, breaking the prior all-time high for about 2 years straight. So it is going to be relative to that very much. And I wouldn't necessarily get I wouldn't necessarily get too bearish on this. For what it's worth, I don't think that Bitcoin's going to ever truly die. I think it's kind of past the point of no return. I think there's something in Nassim Taleb's book where basically if 3% of the population accepts something, then it kind of gets bootstrapped into existence. And I believe that we're past 3% of that. In fact, I believe there was a study done in the US. Now I know that this is not the whole world, of course, and I'm speaking like an American right now, but the US essentially I think showed that somewhere around a little bit less than 20% of people actually own some cryptocurrency. So, I do think that we're past the point of no return. And more importantly, when you hear about all this talk of regulation, when you hear about all this talk of, of lawmakers getting involved with stable coins, with Bitcoin, all that good stuff, which might not be good for you, but let me offer a different perspective of this. That actually legitimizes the space. And it was always going to be a thing, at least in my mind. And I think actually Michael Saylor agrees with this as well, or he's kind of saying something relatively similar, that the true evolution of Bitcoin is not going to be Bitcoin taking over the world. That's never going to fucking happen. And it's not that it's never going to happen. I mean, it would be very naive to say never, of course, but I think it's incredibly unlikely. And more importantly, if that did happen, you probably don't want to be around for that. Something drastically terrible would have gone on. But what's most likely is we're going to see Bitcoin maybe become like a treasury asset, or just on everyone's balance sheet, a store of value essentially, and you will use that in the same way that you would real estate, to kind of store your wealth and kind of account for rises in inflation, all that good stuff. Even though while inflation was rising over here, Bitcoin not really being a great beneficiary of that, to be fair. But realistically, we're either going to have a digital euro, a digital dollar, a digital yuan, whichever country wins out the race to be the world superpower, of which it's probably between the U.S. and China, to be fair. And then you'll use Bitcoin as kind of like a bank account almost, and then you'll transact in your fiat currencies, because that's the way that our cycles go in the economy. So those are things that really should be paid attention to. In fact, I watched a phenomenal documentary over the weekend. Oh man, I need to share this with you. Actually, I'm gonna put this in the derp box. Let me just find it. Where was it? Nimbo sent it to me yesterday. This was great, man. This was just fucking phenomenal. It's basically talking about how Japan and the central bank kind of fucked around with their currency. I just posted a link in the what's it called right there, in the dirt box, if you will, and it was very, very enlightening. So I do think it's very important to kind of educate yourself on those sorts of topics. I'm not educated on macroeconomics and shit like that. I actually did get a degree in economics from school, but that's meaningless, and I don't think anyone knows what the fuck's going on with the economy anyways, except for those who actually decide, like the central banks. But yeah, anyways, let's see. Is there anything different on CME over here that we should be discussing? Looks like shit. Even on the weekly, closing below that level as well. What we can say on daily CME chart right here. If we did get back above $36,000, that'd look very, very good for a run into the $40,000 territory. I do not think that Bitcoin would have any prolonged stop at $39,000 or $40,000. I do strongly believe we'd see Bitcoin somewhere around $45,000. Probably still does get pushed back right around there too, but for all that it's worth, all higher term time frames on CME are very much bearish as well. Does not look fucking good right here, to be fair. But I do suspect that if we did take out the last high right here, again, anywhere above the 200 exponential average on this, then yes, that would look pretty damn good. So fair enough on that. I think we've got all the hopium out of the way. Again, for anyone who's joining right now, understand the titles of these videos are always clickbait or always bullshit. Half the time the title is literally the opposite of what I think is going to happen, or the content of this channel. So please please, hopefully that is understood. There you go. Anyways, I can't speak English today, so you know what? We're gonna get into some comments right now, and I'll try to do my best with my broken English right now. All right, Scott Carney says, "Why does my PP do a 618% pullback after Sexers?" I don't know, man. You should get that checked out. There's something called the blue pill, and then also there's steroids that you can inject into yourself, and that will get it going. I can assure you of that. Scott Carney also says, "My PP appreciates 300% in value." Your PP sounds like a shitcoin, sir, and you should probably sell that on derpcoin.com. Anyways. Askia Husar says, "Are you really live at midnight? I'm in Chicago, new to this channel." Yeah, man. So I am an American citizen, but I do live in Finland. So. Oh, this is not live. Elsa says this is not live. Yeah, this is pre-recorded, but I can read your comments from the past because I have a time machine, and that's the way that we do it here. No, man, I'm an American citizen who lives in Finland. So yeah, the timing of these is a little bit later for you over there in the Western Hemisphere. But hey, man, welcome and good to meet you, sir. As I haven't seen you here before. Scott Carney says, "ALYI. I know it may sound annoying, but it has shown aggressive moves to the upside. Weekly volatility looks like it's ready to expand." I mean, we've looked at this a million times. I suspect is probably still just ranging. Yeah, still just ranging. I don't think that is going to expand anytime soon. I don't have anything new to say about this. You're not being annoying about it. I just feel like I don't want to feed you hopium, man, because best case scenario for this one is sideways for a while, and I think that's completely fine. It looks like it probably does, continue with the sideways here. And as long as it does trade sideways, I would be looking for an upside resolution, but not anytime soon, man. The weekly BBWP on the daily is not low at all. In fact, it's expanding right now within the context of just a general consolidation. Weekly BBWP is low as well, but look, man, it can go way lower, and this is going to take a long time. This can take another this could take another couple months realistically for it to get back down below 10 percentile in this case. So no, man, I don't think it's expanding anytime soon, relatively speaking. I think, I think best case scenario for this one is kind of similar to Bitcoin, goes sideways. If this one does want to dump out, I would be looking at a move towards about 275 or so. Let's see. Michael Crook says, "Hey, Krown, can you check out AEHL stock 1 day and weekly?" Okay. AEHL. Okay, we got some stocks today. Antelope Enterprise Holdings Limited. All right. I think you forgot a few fucking buzzwords there. Okay, this is a very bizarre one. It just goes sideways. Nope, it just goes down, but short term it's just going sideways. It does look like it has a bit of a reversal in place right here on the higher term time frames. It's kind of sloppy on the weekly there, but no, I think it's actually okay here. I think it's just going to go sideways for a little bit of time, and then you will see a breakout, you'll see a confirmation of breakout of about 475 or so, and you're looking at something like this, kind of similar to that ALYI thing, but this one looks a little bit more healthy. To be fair, we do have volume signature that is supportive of of a change of behavior right here. I'd be looking for it to kind of wedge itself into this area right here, continue with these higher lows. And if that does happen over the next couple months here, going into like the end of the year, I would be looking for a breakout to your next prior like major levels, like 630 or so, 650, anywhere around there would look okay. So yeah, I know that you're looking at a 1 day and weekly. We didn't look at a weekly. Weekly is a little bit more less confidence inducing, but when we go down to the daily, I mean, this is just sloppy marks trades. Well, it doesn't trade OTC, but it just trades like a shit. I mean, this is garbage right here is what it really is. It's 13 years just straight down. So upside probably limited, but again, to me, this is a big warning sign in the traditional markets. Traditional markets, we're seeing a lot of these shitcoin stocks starting to put in rallies now, while a lot of the majors are kind of putting in somewhat toppyish formations. So I don't look at that as a sign of strength like at all whatsoever, but does that one hold it sideways for a little bit of time and maybe get a move? Probably yes. Oh, there he is. What's up, Mr. Caretaker? Good to see you, man. It must be a late night for you. And there he is, Mr. Nimbo as well. Again, shout out to the man who is passing me on that documentary. Is really really well done, by the way. Really really well done. Well enough done for someone like me who's like usually a lot of that stuff goes over my head. I could understand it, and rather terrifying as well. In fact, rather terrifying. If you ever wanted to know why the Japanese yen is like such is looking like monopoly money, like that would be why. And it's just crazy how how basically like a private entity can kind of manipulate that so nastily. I'll just say it straight up. All right, Epidemic, there he is. What's up, man? Good to see you as well, my friend. Good to see you as well. Hope you had a nice weekend over there in Australia. And it sounds like, well, you have no question. What's going on right here? Let's see. Hold on. All right, there it is. Abbott says, "You sure that tea is better than coffee?" Lol. Can't find the words. Need some caffeine. I'm a coffee maniac. I love I love coffee as well, man. But coffee, there's something about it which just makes it feel like it's a fucking drug. You know, it's I don't think there's too much difference between coffee and cocaine, to be honest with you, man. Drink fucking 5 cups of coffee of caffeine, get 500 mgs in you. I don't think there's too much difference, except it lasts longer, to be quite honest with you. So to be honest, I don't know, man. I don't know. I suspect the tea is a little bit more, for whatever reason, it just feels more natural in a sense, even though it's kind of like a dirty word. But my point is that I don't get like that cracked out feeling by mid-afternoon where it's just like, what the fuck is going on with my head, and why can't I say anything properly, and why can't I think? Even though in the morning it is rather fun. It is kind of a fun way to kind of jumpstart your day. I am a boomer. This is true. Justin Meyer says Bitcoin shorts are historically pretty lowish and longs are higher than ever on Finex. Thoughts on that? I don't really care what's going on Finex. We can bring it up right here. Finex has just been, it just doesn't really. The problem with this kind of stuff is like, look, you don't know these people's positions on other exchanges or let alone other derivative contracts. Like, let's see. Okay, so first off, let's pull up exactly what you're looking at. What is this? Is this right here? Okay, so it is showing hedged shorts and longs, but the problem is you don't know those positions on the exchanges. Like when I was a professional market maker, authorized trader, I would have positions on, like, I didn't even know what fucking exchanges they were on because it was all conglomerate, because we had a centralized clearing agency, so it didn't even matter. Like we were trading probably like up to 10 different exchanges, and it just our clearing agency would just take care of it. That's also why they got paid so much fucking money, to be fair. You're welcome, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, you fuck. Anyways, no, not you fuck. I mean, it actually is quite a good service if you do need it. But with this, we don't know, like, if these people have positions on Deribit, for example. We don't know if they have options positions. We don't know if they have underlying spot positions. We don't know if they have positions on all of the other 50 million exchanges where you can trade this very highly esteemed technology. So, if you're just asking me to analyze that data straight up, then obviously, yes, that would not be bullish, of course, and that kind of correlate with the more bearish look of this asset. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is that while that might actually work in this case, that sort of interpretation, fuck, I just messed this one up. While that might work in this, in this case, it would not be a good long-term strategy to do, because it's not really based in reality, in my opinion. Okay, let's see what else we got over here. King Cosmic says, hi, spy hourly and daily opportunities, please, thanks. Okay, so you're looking at hourly and daily. I think you already know my thoughts on, generally speaking, I think it probably does open up on a bit of a bounce today. Technically speaking, we still got higher lows right here on SPY too. I'd probably be looking for a bounce anywhere up above 43.20, anywhere around there is fine. Daily, however, I am looking for another lower high anywhere. Actually, we could rally up all the way to like 43.50-ish region for all I care. This is looking like a bit of a head and shoulders. Probably not as obvious on the daily, more obvious on the 12-hour right here. So yes, next move anywhere around here, as long as it's a lower high below about 43.60. I'm looking at that as the next momentous drop. Kind of similar to Bitcoin, short term, yeah, it has a little bit of upside here. I wouldn't really do all that much, but anywhere around here, I'd be looking for lower highs. And at that point, do we see the next drop Ola from there? I do think so. And based off the weekly, I'd probably be looking for the next potential low somewhere down around about 42.50. Is that right? Yeah, 42.50 to 42.55 or so. All right, cool. Let's see. Okay, Kryptonian has a great question here. Okay. The question is from Kryptonian. Explain the difference between a bear trap and a bull trap. Okay, a bear trap, here's a very easy way to remember this. A bear trap traps bears. A bull trap traps bulls. What do bears typically want? They want downside. So how do you trap a bear? You essentially put in a downside move. You see, a quick wick down below whatever support that everyone's looking at, and then by closure, you typically close back above, or maybe within the next day or two, or whatever time frame you're looking at, the next like couple of closures, you see it close back above what would have been that support or resist, or sorry, in this case, support. If you see something like that, typically you'll see a run in the other direction, and vice versa for a bull trap. So should we come up with a couple of examples right here? Yeah, we can actually come up with an example right here very, very easily for Bitcoin on the bear trappy side. Okay, well, actually, we see one right here. In fact, you see this quick wick down. So remember, on our lower term timeframes, our bottom side support was somewhere right around about $31,000 even or so. And you can see this quick wick down yesterday, right down. Actually, in fact, let me just no, it's on this chart right here. There we go. Yeah, I actually have it marked off right here on the lower end of this blue box territory. You can see that we actually even tested into that region yesterday very, very quickly, but by closure, we closed back above the actual bottom side support. So that could be considered a bit of a bear trap for a short-term time frame. Same thing over here. You see a massive wick below. This one was like very, very nasty, to be fair. This one over here, not relevant to this time frame, but for the purpose of this discussion, we'll just kind of focus on this time frame. And realistically, we did see something like that kind of yesterday. And what do you know? When we close back above on that nice wick, then we get to run the other way. Yes, it's kind of grinding its way out, but understand, the market's not to be viewed in the same day. It's meant to be really viewed in like chunks of like weeks realistically. And there we go, we're getting a little bit of a short-term move to the upside right here. Now by the same token, a bull trap. Where is a good bull trap? Right here. Here's a phenomenal one actually. This is textbook in fact. So let me actually pull up a fresh chart right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back to March and April of 2021. So just a few months ago, when Bitcoin was trading in between about 50,000 and 60,000 bucks. So what did we see right here? Well, we actually saw a bullish formation essentially painted. We saw an ascending trunk. We essentially saw an uptrend going into this region right here, and Bitcoin breaks above the topside resistance of it, or just breaks the prior high in this case. And how do you know that it's a bull trap? Well, there's a couple things, and this works for a bear trap as well. You want to see lower volume on the actual breakout with no follow through, and then same thing over here. Cracks back down below what would have been your broken resistance in this case. And then as you can see, this one runs the other way extremely fast. In fact, if you look from top to bottom, this is a almost 30% move, by the way. It's pretty aggressive right there. Anyways, my point is with this is that you're looking at a quick move above your resistance, in this case on a new high, and this typically is how markets actually top, and then no volume follow through, no follow through on price action, and then teeter totter as it does essentially come back down. And this was actually on a weekend as well. It actually looks a lot more nasty on CME right here. You can see this. So yeah, there you go. That is what a bull trap would be, essentially the opposite of a bear trap. So I hope that was in some way helpful, and let me know if there's if there's another way that we could go over that as well. Okay, cool. I actually recorded that one, and we can upload it to the channel perhaps later, so we don't have to do that a million goddamn times. All right, cool. Abbott Dynamics says, I agree. I'm trying real hard to stop it. Rules my life. I know, man. I know. I'm totally addicted to it as well. I'm totally addicted, so I'm trying to like wean myself off and get off the caffeine tit, if you will. Anyways, Abbott's also asking about NVIDIA on the daily. Sure, man. Yeah, we can look at NVIDIA. Very fun stock to actually trade because it moves like crazy, or at least it did when I was trading it. And also apparently, oh my God, man, I can't believe it's trading up here. When I was trading this one, it was like $100 or like $90. This was way long ago. Yeah, oh my God, I need to go. Jesus Christ, all the way back on over here. Yeah, way. Oh yeah, it was somewhere around here, like 2013, I think. Holy shit, no, it was only like 15, 16 bucks. Does this one have like a stock split or something, or am I thinking of something different? Huh, weird. Anyways, maybe I'm thinking of Facebook. Anyways, okay, you're looking at NVIDIA on the daily. Seems to be decent volume on the sell-off. Think it follows NASDAQ. Yeah, I think it will. In fact, this one's breaking down a lot more significantly. Same thing here, though. I would be looking for a quick bounce to open up this week. This one can bounce up all the way to maybe even $800. But as long as you're below $800, I would be looking for any sort of weakness on a lower high, and then very likely the next drive to the downside. Looking at the weekly right here, yeah, again, very, very likely to open up on a bounce. I think 770 to 780-ish region, very, very likely, and then probably does fail there, and I would be looking for a bigger base somewhere in the mid 600s or so. Maybe that becomes the next macro low, maybe not, I don't know, but I'm not necessarily bearish on the monthly just yet, so I would give it at the very least a chance to have like a big bounce off of about 660 or so first, and then come back to it after that. All right, cool. What else do we have over here? I think I missed Mr. Michael Crooks. Hey, check out BTU stock 1 hour and daily. Okay, BTU, this thingy right here. All right, let's check it out. Oh, Jesus Christ, man, monthly looks nasty. You're looking at an hourly and a daily. Okay, so weekly is also kind of toppy as well. Hourly, yeah, same thing here. Most of these stocks are going to kind of trade in unison together. Very likely opens up this week on a bounce. Anywhere south of $10 is fair game. This one can rally up quite aggressively too, it looks like, but let's see where it's coming in, about 985 or so. Yeah, anywhere below $10 is fair game on on the next bounce, but I would be looking for this one to come down probably over this next week or two down to about 750, 760-ish region, and that's going to be the real test in my opinion. As long as it's above the 55, I mean, it still has still has that going for it, and that is still more or less long-term good, but looking at the higher term timeframes right here, it is looking a bit toppy. We still got a bit to trade though on the monthly, of course. So it has a chance, I suppose. But first bounce, then maybe not so much of a bounce. All right, cool. Hot Paquette. Is that your name? SOXL and 10-year Treasury. Okay, let's see. SOXL. This thing right here. This is semiconductor, 3x bull. Jesus Christ, man. I don't think you need that on the semiconductors. Down, man. I'd be looking for this one to come down to 33.50 or so. Let's see. Do you have any time frames on this? Okay, we got that. Yeah, this one's very, very likely coming down right now, but I wouldn't necessarily get macro bearish on it just yet. I do think it will bounce off of, what was it, 33 or so? Anywhere around about 33 and a half, give or take a few bucks right there. You got clear and obvious rejective highs coming in from this area right here. Do we still have rising bottoms? Not really on the daily. Weekly, not really as well, but I'd give it a chance. I'll still give it a chance. This one's gonna play mostly with the Nasdaq, I imagine. Monthly is looking more toppy to me, however, though, I should say. Monthly could very easily come down lower, below somewhere around like 26 and a half or so. US 10-year, I'm not the best person to ask about, like, I'm guessing this is bonds, yeah. I'm not the best person to ask about this. I've never traded bonds myself, and bonds trade a lot differently than stocks in my experience, or at least from what I've looked at. I had a couple of friends who traded bonds, but it's a completely different game. If I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the same thing as you. It looks okay, I guess, but I don't think I have an opinion worth. I don't think I have an opinion worth talking about on something like this, man. I probably shouldn't talk about it. So you know what? Just full transparency. I'm not the person to ask about that. So apologies. RHL says PNK USD daily, please, sir. Sure, man. Okay, so this is, I'm guessing, a cryptocurrency seen as what is this? Oh, it trades on Phoenix. Can't be that bad. Can't be that bad, but it's pretty bad. It looks very bad here. Short term, does it pop back up to like 10.5 cents? Maybe yes, but this one is heavily bearish as long as you're below about 12.5 cents. To be fair, we do have a higher low in place on the daily, so maybe I do have my words on that one. Let's go down to the very low term timeframes. 4 hour looks like it wants a bit of a pop up first, so yes. Yeah, short term, I would be looking for it to pop back up above 10 cents, but I have a hard time looking at this one as like good as long as you're below 12.5 cents on the daily, and that's what you seem to be mostly concerned about. This death cross right here does have a strong potential to be a fake out, though, I would say. So that would be the other bullish thing that I could say about this, but well, if I scroll it out a little bit more, I mean, technically speaking, it's still in a long-term uptrend on the weekly. Really digging into the deep hopium drawer right now. But here's where I'd feel very confident on this one. Anywhere above 12.5 cents, I'd look for a very nice rally up to about 17.5, maybe even 20 cents. That'd look pretty damn good. And technically speaking, it still does have its long-term uptrend intact. So fair enough. Maybe the saying holds true this time. Do not never short a dull market. And in this case, I mean, Bitcoin's kind of same thing. Short term, very likely does have a little bit of upside. If we can take out yesterday's high, that would look pretty damn good for another move up to 33 or so. Maybe a little bit past 33. All right, cool. Let's see. Emmy says, please take a look at Trios going down, and I wonder if there's a decent pump coming or something anytime soon. This sounds like desperation, and I don't say that to shit on your hopes and dreams, sir. But when you start talking like that, it's probably not good. No, this is the chart of a complete shitcoin right here. Will it ever get a pump up? I mean, define pump. I suspect if you're into something like this, and again, I'm not trying to step on your toes or anything like this, or make fun of you, but I suspect with a question like that, you're probably entering in somewhere over here, and you're hoping and praying for some sort of a pump from Bula Jesus to pick you up. Look, even if Bitcoin pumped up here back up to 45,000 bucks, this thing very likely barely even follows. This is a pile of absolute steaming garbage as far as the chart goes. This is a pump and dump. This is what a fucking pump and dump looks like. This is complete steaming pile of shitola. The weekly is in complete free fall right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing maybe come back down to about 240, 230-ish region before the next potential bounce. This thing is honestly the reason, things like this thing are honestly the reason why this market is going to play out these very, very nasty downside moves. We're at the point now in this market, at least in my opinion, again, I'm talking specifically about a chart, not about you, sir, not about you at all. You're probably great as a person, but as a chart, this is terrible. But in my opinion, we're at the point in cryptocurrency land where no longer can you have like these fucking scam meme coins that have no real business being traded, and they really don't have any any will to actually accomplish whatever the fuck their white paper, assuming that they have one, says that they're trying to do. We're past that point of just fucking, cash grabs, in my opinion. And because of things like this, because of shitty charts like this, you're going to see the markets, have these really nasty moves because everyone's getting washed out of this piece of shit. I mean, this is just garbage right here. Just absolute fucking garbage. Even if Bitcoin goes up, this thing probably barely even follows. There's nothing bullish at all whatsoever about a chart that looks like this. I mean, it's like, I'm going to give you a price target. for where I'd get bullish on this thing, it's like there's not even a good place. Maybe above this high right here. I know that's not even helpful, but this is like literally the chart of which this is the real chart, by the way. This is literally the chart of the market cycle cheat sheet from Wall Street or whatever the hell that thing is. I think this thing has a lot longer to go, and probably. And what's worse about this thing is that you're going to probably stay in this thing. It's going to go sideways for months, maybe even years, and do fuck all. And then the next cycle that Bitcoin goes through, it probably just gets a nice little wee pump back up, somewhere around, I don't know, maybe like $8 or $10, and barely even follows. Probably something like that if I had to guess. This is just shit like this has no business being traded. It's really awful in my opinion, to be honest with you. Boris Rusky says, Silver Daily Weekly, please. Thanks, sure, sir, man. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Man, my raspy, lesbian, lispy voice is really getting in the way of this one today. Silver. Okay, are we still within that ascending triangle here? Yeah, we are. It's not the most confidence inducing at this point. While I did draw on this trend line right here, it's not based off of it's not based off of fuck all. It's really the 55 that you're running on this one if you're looking at this as some sort of a bullish formation, and it is still holding it, to be fair. But next move very likely is to the downside. Wouldn't be surprised to see it come down around just around $25 or so. As long as it's holding the higher lows though, which your last higher low is about 24 and a quarter, I do look at this as more or less fine, more or less good over a long period of time, but it's not going to be resolved anytime soon. I mean, we're talking minimum Q1 next year, and that's assuming that it even holds true to being bullish here. But yeah, short term, I'd be looking for it to come down just below $25. Probably tries for another bounce there. If it does, that'd start to look pretty damn good. I look forward to grind this area out and whip back around, but no resolution anytime soon. And of course, we do take out the last weekly low, which is below about 20. I think I said 24 and a quarter earlier. You could even use like 25 and a half on a weekly closure. This thing's going to absolutely crumble apart, but I mean, this is still like a very respectable consolidation right here. I mean, this thing's going to take time, man. It's going to take a long time. So I would, and I'm not a fan of silver, but that I'd still give it a chance. I don't think it's necessarily bearish, just ranging after a bit of a macro reversal right there. Okay. John Dye says ASAN on the daily and weekly. Sure. ASAN. Okay. Asana. I feel like Asana. I like Asana too. Looks very toppy, very fucking toppy. Same thing as a lot of the other stocks that we looked at. Probably opens up on a little bit of a bounce today. Anywhere up to like 67 if it wants to get there is fine, but ultimately I would be looking for it to come down to low 60s this week, or maybe next week. This the fuck is what is this thing? Yeah, I don't like the weekly. That's pretty reversal-ish. Monthly's kind of setting up nastily here as well. Very short term, yeah, probably opens up on a bounce. I would get bullish back on it again and completely negate everything that I just said about it if it can start to move past about 69.5. That's my line in the sand for this one. But short term, very likely opens up on a bounce, whether you're bullish or bearish, and then pray that it gets above there. Otherwise, I'd be looking for that one to fall apart into the end of this month or early next month. Okay, cool. All right, where did I leave off? There we go. Johnny Boy 950 says, do you follow Alessio Rastani on YouTube? 2021 is a Fibonacci number and a huge crash this year, a trader is predicting. No, I do not follow Alessio Rastani. I'm aware of him. I'm aware of his name, but I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about him, man. And in 2021, it's a Fibonacci number, is it? If it is, that's cool. And a huge crash this year, a trading is predicting. I think you might be talking about Michael Burry, the guy who predicted the 2008 crash. This he definitely does hold a bit of weight because he's not like your usual doomsayer, like a Peter Schiff, for example, who's always predicting that the market's going to fucking fall apart. And then the one time that he's right in 2008 out of like 20 or 30 years, he like rubs it in your face. But Michael Burry is like, he seems a little more reserved with when he actually like makes those calls, and he has the track record for it. So do I think that it holds weight? I think he's definitely worth listening to, and he understands a lot more macro economics than I do. Again, I'm not a macro economist. I don't claim to be, and I don't ever really want to be. But But we do see some weakness coming in the market, and I wouldn't be surprised to see like a bigger correction. I don't know if I'd call it a crash, even though a 20% move in traditional markets is called a crash. But I do think the stock market is probably due later this year for like a 15 to 20% correction, to be honest with you. Dan says Cream USD fell back in a range after failing to break. That sounds like a bit of a trappy situation to me, sir. Let's see what we got going on over here. Cream USD on FTX and Poloniex, actually. Let's see. Okay, so where's our failure to break? Yeah, it's right here. I actually don't hate this, man. This is actually still an okay chart. And you know what? I drew this wrong anyways. It really should be coming in from this breakdown right here. And technically speaking, still got the higher lows. It's still kind of chugging its way along. Do I think that it's ready right now? Probably not. But as long as it's running these higher lows right here, especially bouncing off the 55 on the daily, it's fine. Again, though, if Bitcoin does start to break down, do I put my faith in this one? Probably not. But see how the weekly looks like here. Still, I don't have any major problems with this. Probably one of the better or more healthy consolidation charts that I've looked at thus far, especially in cryptocurrency land. It did fail to break, but we still got some more space in here. I would be looking for a resolution within 2 weeks here. Around 75% full on these sort of apex moves is when you're very, 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 very likely to break, alongside BBWP coming off the floor. I mean, it might even break this week. But I'd say sometime around end of the month is where you're looking at. And until then, do we have a short-term downside move to like 150, 153 region? Maybe yes. I don't think that's like out of the question at all. Something like this, what I'd be looking for. I'd actually look at this as still okay. My line in the sand for this one moving to the downside is this little spike low right here, 140, 141 or so. Okay, Aaron Depp says, can you please take a look at the open interest on Bitcoin, specifically longs, and compare it to the peak of the bull market? No, I don't think that this is in any way, shape, or form relevant. You're probably talking about Finex longs. Look, again, you have no fucking idea what those people's positions are on other exchanges. And also, if you happen to know, you can also claim those positions as well. So you could just wipe them off the books with your own spot underlying positions, and it won't mean shit. And look, man, if you're a big fucking whale, think about this logically, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but think about this logically. If you're a big fucking whale, put yourself in those shoes. You're a big fucking whale. You have billions of dollars, maybe even trillions, right? And what are you going to do? Are you going to just telegraph your fucking position to the whole world because you know that everyone's looking at the same thing anyways on an exchange like Finex? No, first off, you're not going to do it on one exchange anyways. You're going to do it on a bunch of different exchanges, and you're probably not going to want other people to know exactly what you're doing. But we can look at it, and I know that you want to correlate it with like, oh, this is shorts. I think this is longs. Nope. This must be longs right here. Correlate Finex longs with highs. So this is December 2019. Okay, so December 2019, the lows for Bitcoin were already in. This is 25th of December. I'm pretty sure I remember this one specifically myself. Yep. So longs at their all-time highs prior to this current move was right around here. The low was already in for Bitcoin, and then there was another spike high like right around here as well, same thing. And I believe those positions were actually claimed, if memory serves me properly, but maybe I might be wrong on that. So do I think that it matters? No, I think if anything, it's used to kind of deceive. Whoops, that's shorts again. Here's your longs. Any other long, all-time highs. When we saw in March 2018 right here, yeah, that actually did work out as a bull trap. But how do you make a relationship between this? There's more and more people within this market now. You can't really look at this as like well-designed historical data in an absolute form. There's no way to kind of equate for that just based off of this one chart. And again, man, I stick with what I said earlier. I think that this stuff is like more or less fun things to kind of argue with at a boring party, with other people, but it doesn't mean all that much. Or can you trade that? Where do you fucking put a stop loss on that? You can't. I think it'd be impossible. So yeah, man, it's interesting stuff. Yes. And it sounds very high quality. It sounds very high consciousness. It sounds very smart, but can it be used in common trading? I don't think so, man. I strongly don't believe so. Abatemix says, thoughts on closing below the lower Bollinger Band on the daily for Bitcoin? You seem to generally like this metric for trend in motion. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so you're talking about this right here, right? Or do you mean like if we close below the bottom side Bollinger Band? So there's two things that need to happen when you're looking at Bollinger Bands as trending, essentially. You need to see, one, a closure below, like you see in this case right here, but two, more importantly, you need to see volatility expanding. And as we saw in the BBWP indicator, volatility was not really expanding from here. It was more or less just, hanging on to the lows and kind of trending down, more importantly. So you need to see those two things in confluence with each other. And a lot of the time you want to see moving averages kind of in the same direction as well. And in this case, they are, to be fair. But, in this case, this is not a trending move right here. And we don't really have it just yet, to be fair. Let's see, did I miss anything else of that? I do like it when things are trending, but, it works really, really well in these sort of situations over here when you're just kind of following the trend. You're just looking for continuation, generally speaking. But when you're consolidating, not as much. You want to see like a big volatile move alongside closing above or below those regions. And then you also want to see it supported by volume as well. Sir, what are you laughing at? What are you having a good time over there or what? No? What's going on? What's happened? What's no? Look at the oh dear Lord. Do we have a troll attack going on today? What's going on right now? I don't know. Elsa seems perturbed. All right, Cole Evans says, hey Krown, can you check out Cardano USD Binance on 12-hour and up? Okay. I think I already got it charted out over here, or do I? Where are we? 118, 119-ish region. All right, you're looking at a 12-hour specifically. Okay, low if you think it's worth looking at. It will depends what you're wanting to look at. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting things in this one right now. Do we potentially have a higher low in place? Yes, we do. I mean, it very well could be on the 12-hour and daily. How would we confirm this as a higher low? I need to see us take out yesterday's high, Sunday's high in this case. That's about 123 and some odd change. And then you ought to be looking for another rally back up somewhere around the 20 simple in this case. But let's see, what are you... low if you think it's worth looking at. Let's look at the weekly. I would think looking at higher term time is going to be better. Again, still, if this one wants to break down alongside the rest of the market, 95 cents to $1 where we'd be looking towards. Still likes to hold that support so far, so I respect it as long as that condition is met. We still do have these rising wicks even on the weekly as well, so one's holding up, all things considered, much better than most things within this market, so take that as you will. Other than that, though, I don't really have any long-term analysis on this one. If Bitcoin goes up, though, I'd imagine that this one's probably going to be obtuse to most altcoins. Probably going to be it's probably going to benefit a lot more, maybe even in comparison to Bitcoin in this case. Short term, anywhere above, basically yesterday's high. I'd be looking for this one to rally back up or so. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. Let's see. Okay, what else do we got? M to Love It All says, hey Krown, nice to see you, brother. Nice to see you as well, sir. Can you please take a look at AXX? This is the Axis thingy. This is like the one crypto that's actually doing something of interest, right? This one had a phenomenal run. Has it topped out now though? It looks like it's topped out at least medium term. But what time frame are you looking at? 4-hour daily and weekly. Okay, daily short-term toppy. This one's actually breaking down right now. I'd be looking for a move down to about 14.5. 4 hours kind of in free fall to me. Nothing bullish about this one short term as long as it's below about $20 weekly. Weekly looks toppy as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one kind of come back down and retest your highs of April, actually, somewhere right around $13 or so. Technically speaking, though, the weekly is still more or less good, I suppose. I mean, it is an uptrend, but can it play out a bit of a sideways and down short term and medium term, all things considered? I think yes. That's kind of be my line in the sand for that one right there. Let's see. Okay. All right. Mark Marcos says, first, hello, sir, from Cali. Hey, man, I grew up in California as well. Been watching you for months, and will continue even in bear. Hey, sweet man. Well, I'll be here. I'll be doing the same thing in the bear market, as you already know, man. Thanks for taking the time to give in-depth analysis and sincere life lessons. Hey, man. I'm just sharing experience right here. That's all. Hopefully that is in some way helpful. Nothing else comes. Hey, man, appreciate that. Fear NFT. Okay, so can I find this on TradingView? Is a real question. Fear? Apparently so. Okay, so it's this, or it must be this. Yeah, that's on Uniswap. So, and it says NFT in it as well. Actually acting very well here. Very fucking well, in fact. But that's on a 4-hour, and this really doesn't have too much history here. But for the history that it does have, I mean, god damn, man, this one's powerful right here. What does the weekly say? Weekly looks good here too. Let's see. You're looking at daily, weekly. The problem with the weekly on this one is it really hasn't been around for too much. I mean, just back to basically end of May. Daily, I mean, it's still good. I can't really do too much analysis on something that's this new though. So unfortunately, this is not going to be too helpful. But funnily enough, you didn't ask about the 4 hour, but the 4 hour is the one time frame that actually does have something worth talking about here. Look, I'd be bullish on this one as long as it holds the last high or low here. Right around 168 or so. I'd be looking for this one to generally grind its way higher. 230 your last high, kind of a natural area of interest there for the short term. But below this area right here, I would be looking for this one to consolidate lower, like 125 to 130 or so. For what it's worth, I think it probably has another upside move short term, but I can't really get too much off the daily. And there's no real target to give on this one as well. I mean, it's just going to generally grind higher, it looks like, at least in the short term, and then come back after that and figure it out, I suppose. Nico Senpai says, NVIDIA hourly, maybe daily. I think we already did look at this one. I'm sure of it. Did I say do I have anything different to say about it? Short term bouncy, probably. Short term can bounce back up anywhere to like the high 700s. Bearish as long as below about 800, and daily I do think comes down further. Next bouncy territory somewhere around like 700, and on the weekly 650, I think it was. Yeah, about 655 or so. Okay, so Abidemic says, my question is about greed. Have you dealt with greed in your career? I'm not greedy in life, but not surprisingly greedy. Greed finds its way into my trading in unexpected times. Any ruminations with how to deal with greed specifically? Yeah, let me take a sip of this water and then actually record this one as well. Yeah, NFT fever really is in full effect. I agree. God Andre, I totally agree. Okay. Okay. So let's. All right. Okay. We'll get that right there. Okay. Okay. Here we go. The question is about greed. How do you deal with greed? And if you're not a greedy person in like your real day-to-day life, but you do kind of feel yourself getting greedy within the context of trading, how do you deal with that? Okay, so greed within the context of trading, first, let's kind of define that. What is greed? It's essentially you're in a position, it's probably going for you, and then you initially had a plan. Let's say you're going to take profit on Bitcoin on this next move to like $35,000, and then Bitcoin starts moving in your direction by like $1, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be rich. It's going to $40,000, and you start to move your take profits a little bit upwards, which was not based off your prior plan and usually gets in the way of your plan in general. So that would be my definition of greed within the context of trading. And how do you deal with that? Well, as always, in the most practical sense, like how do you get around it? It's by having a trading plan. You need to have an area, you need to have a prior laid out plan where you know you are going to take profit, regardless of whether you're feeling greedy or fearful or whatever emotion it might be. That is your first and most important defense against it. And that is really realistically the only defense that you need. But how do you actually deal with the greed itself? If you don't like to feel those emotions, or maybe it kind of tilts you off in some way, well, that's where I do think it's important to have like other practices in life. I think it's important to, have some hobbies outside of trading so that you're not always constantly focusing on it, and you can be greedy in other aspects of life, but you can't be greedy in trading, because if you understand how trading works and how all of these, and how a trading plan is going to work for you, you have to understand that the statistics are going to only be working in your favor based off your current plan, assuming that you already have a plan. I happen to know you, and I happen to know that you do have a plan. But for anyone else who's listening out there, if you don't have a plan, this doesn't apply to you. You need a fucking plan, and you need to backtest that plan and make sure that those statistics are working in favor of you. But if you already have that in place, then you know that any deviation from that plan is what is going to make that plan not work in the way as intended. So therefore, it is no plan at all, and you can't trust in the statistics of it. And therefore, you should feel both greedy and fearful because you don't have anything really that you're going off of anyways. So as always, it comes back to that. But I do suspect that it is very, very valuable to have, greediness in your other areas of life to kind of maybe satisfy that emotion, because we naturally feel things in that way. So what could be an example of that? I don't know. Maybe you play a fucking sport. Maybe you play basketball and you get greedy with trying to put up as many points as possible. But because there's no like financial potential ruin in that, it's a lot better way to express your greed so that you don't have it in other areas of life. Maybe it's worth forth. Maybe you get greedy, I don't know, with like going out to a club and you just want to meet a girl, or guy, or whatever you want to meet. You can meet whatever because it's year 2021, of course, and so maybe you get greedy with that. That's a fair proposition as well. Obviously, don't rape or anything like that. Elsa thinks that's funny, but you can be greedy with like your intentions, right? As long as you don't break any laws, of course. So you're naturally going to feel that as a person, both fear and greed, as the fear and greed index would be tracking, and it's unnatural to not have that as a human being, but you can express it in other ways so that you don't feel as much in trading. I also find that and it always comes back to this as well, meditation can definitely help with that, because you focus on what is actually most relevant and what actually gets you to where you want to be. And you'll realize through a lot of concerted effort and documenting your own feelings that greed doesn't help you, and it can really only hurt you in a lot of ways. And same thing with fear. Fear doesn't really help you. It can hurt you mostly. I mean, do you need to be fucking fearful of putting your hand on a stove? No, you already know it's going to hurt you, so you just don't do it. You don't, whether you feel fear or not towards that action doesn't influence the action itself. That's kind of the point of it. You want to be able to feel these emotions and then do what you were going to do anyways. And that's really where I think you can dial things back and make it more relatable and more actionable within your life, because to tell someone to never have greed or to never have fear is like it's an impossible task. Like the same thing as telling someone don't think of a pink elephant. What are you going to think about? It's a fucking pink elephant. Goddamn obvious. More importantly with that, if you can think about that and then not act on it, that's the true superpower. To be able to have focus is the true superpower in this day and age where everyone's kind of focused on things for 7 seconds. Because what is that doing when you watch like a TikTok video or whatever that's very, 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 very short form? It's appealing to your emotions. It's trying to grab out and hook your emotional state so that you're kind of in line with that and you're drawn towards it, rather than going across or going about what you're going to do anyways. And I would suggest really doing like a full detailed life analysis of all the times that you kind of feel like that. Even with this channel, like watching this content, half the time I would imagine this content is not going to be relevant to you because maybe we're talking about something that you don't care about looking at. Maybe we're going to be talking about something that's just not relevant to your strategy. Whatever. If it's not valuable to you, then it is probably an emotional decision. And if you're not consciously making that decision yourself, you're probably leading yourself down a path, whether you're conscious of it or not, or you're probably not conscious of it. I mean, by definition, you are not conscious of it. That is getting you further and further away from where you want to go. So when it comes to trading, when you feel that greed, you can, the real superpower is to identify that feeling of greed. Say, hey, I know this feeling. I know what I'm feeling right now because I'm trying to deviate from my plan because I think it's going to go more in my favor, even though nothing realistically different has happened that would or contradict that plan. And I can feel that, and I can still go ahead and do what I was going to do anyways, because I know, more importantly, from the past, especially if you journal these sorts of things, I know in the past, whenever I have let these feelings in, it has ended in financial distress. Yeah, there you go. So it's important to kind of reflect upon those things, I think, because you'll naturally come to that conclusion anyways. But the problem is we're not really like taught to think about these things and like really document our feelings and really sit down and have a conversations with ourselves, because otherwise, well, I don't know why we're not taught this, but that would be very, very useful, because you can probably get over 90% of your problems alone just by doing that. And maybe the other 10%, I don't know, maybe you need like a fucking therapist or something, whatever it is. But more importantly, again, I think it really just comes down to, if you want a more relatable and actionable thing, have a goddamn plan. Understand that you can have feelings about that plan that do not influence the plan, and you can still play the plan out as if you were a human robot, which in some ways we might just be. All right, cool. I think we got that one. So hopefully that made sense. Anyways, Abbott says, Krown, how much therapy do you provide for Elsa? Your channel reaching new all-time high means the trolls are at all-time highs. Are we having like real troll attacks right now? What's going on right now? I'll let Nimbo or Elsa tell me. How bad are the trollings going on right now? Is it bad? Oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, I mean, Elsa's honestly, she's pretty like headstrong, I think, especially for. in some ways. But yeah, man, you know, it used to get to me sometimes, but then you just kind of realize, like, when a channel gets big enough, it's just a statistical probability that there's gonna be at least some percentage of people who are just gonna not be with it. It could also be funny too. It can definitely be looked at as funny. I mean, if someone wants to spend their time like trolling a channel like this, it's like, okay, I feel important now to your life. It's like, it's nice actually, if anything. Anyways, okay, so Nimbo says, Krown, has Hex 4-hour and 12-hour blow off top in now 85% correction? Let's see. Has it had its blow off top? If it had its event, it's very possible that it has. Weekly's not bearish yet. Daily it's getting there. I think it's done for now. It hit about 20 cents or so. At best right now, I do think it trades a little bit of sideways, probably back down to like 12.5 cents, 13 cents or so. Could it get reaccumulated? It could. I mean, this is not what I'd expect on a top just yet. It is short-term toppy, but is it a macro top? I actually don't. I wouldn't. God damn, I'm gonna incite the Hexicans again. Like, we had a Hexican attack in the Discord last night too. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Look, the best way to fucking market your pet rock is to do it the way that Toby does. He's very, 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 very reasonable person. But the way that a lot of Hexicans do it is like they'll down talk you. They'll down talk you if you don't like say, if you basically don't own their token. It's like, I don't want to fucking I don't own any token. To be honest, I don't think that this one's necessarily done just yet. It hasn't had a blow off top just yet, and I'd really want to see like BBWP get up to 100 percentile, or at least like 95 plus before I look for like a macro top. I do think it's short term top and it will come down here, but I wouldn't say it's done specifically yet. It probably sees an apex maybe around the time that like they have their airdrop date. I don't know when that is. I don't really follow up on this, but yeah, to be fair, man, short term, yeah, it does come down, but I don't think it's toppy just yet. Like macro toppy, that is. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see. Aaron Depp says, thanks for the info on Bitcoin open interest. Do you mind taking a look at stock oh man, I can't say it. DBRG, Digital Bridge Group. Let's see, what time frames? No time frames given. Daily, down. Hourly, do we bounce like the rest of the market? That I don't know. Hourly looks kind of down too. Okay, yeah, short term down. I'd be looking for a bounce somewhere just below $7, between about 6 and 3/4 and 6.90 or so. I don't know if I'd be long term bullish or bearish on this. I see a lot of things pointing both ways, but at least short term down, I would be looking for a bounce there, and I want to come back to it after that. I don't have any other opinion. Okay, cool. Abbott's back. He says, thank you very much, sir. No problem, man. I've been great with my plan for a while, almost too good, and I push it after a run of success. Yeah, so that's a whole nother topic. Push it after a run of success, mostly, but don't wreck myself anymore because you taught me risk management. Yeah, and those are painful lessons to learn. But look, man, it's just like everything else in life. Like, once you learn the lesson, like, you got it. You got it, and then you don't have to experience that lesson ever again, only if you take conscious responsibility for not doing so. So it's kind of like a catch-22. It's like, okay, you got the lesson, but the lesson is you are always responsible, and you don't have to ever go through that again if you don't want to. But you have to make sure that doesn't, you have to make sure that you're on top of things is the real lesson. It always comes back to that with risk management. It's like, look, you can have an account blowout, and it doesn't necessarily mean all that much to you. It's just you're more likely to probably change your behaviors after being very much emotionally hurt. I think that's kind of how we work as human beings. Hex Pokemon, there he is. Speak of the devil. Hey Krown, have you looked at that shitcoin Hex USD yet? Thank you, much love. Yeah, I mean, we just looked at it. I do think it's short-term toppy. I don't think it's long-term toppy just yet. Is this it right here on the 4-hour? Shit, even on the 4-hour, it looks like it might just. Oh my god, man, this thing just going to continue on. I don't think this thing's going to be done realistically, or at least I wouldn't feel that comfortable saying that this one's like done for a while until it has its event. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're not even on log scale right now. How hard have we sold off from the top just yet? About a 30% move. It's not really like anything too crazy for an altcoin like this. Let's see this. Yeah, it's a 35% move right there. It's not anything too bad. 50% move right there just gets reaccumulated. I'd give it a chance first. I don't think it's the weekly is still bullish is the thing. I mean, that closed on volume on new highs. Yeah, it's not wise to say that this thing is done right now. It's not. Just short term probably is a bit of a pullback here. Maybe back down to like what was it, 12.5 or 13 cents or so. Maybe like 13 cents actually. And this thing's still probably got another high to go. I wouldn't call a top on this one until we get like past 95 percentile, and even then, I mean, it's had a series of doing that in the past, and you know, it does produce a bit of a pullback there, yes, and a bit of a consolidation, which I'm probably expecting for this one right here too. But those have been reaccumulated, so I think Hex can still probably well, hopefully they get out at a profit, you know. Look, I'm not the best person to ask about you know, about that project in general. I know that some people have like a lot of things to say about it. I just look at charts here. As far as charts go, it's still a fine chart, honestly. Yeah, I don't have any major issues with this one as it is. Just short term, a little bit of downside, and then look for another base somewhere around like 12.5 to 13, and that happens, then I mean, probably has one more run at least. Jesus, man, powerful. I definitely saw that some people are getting really fucking rich off that too. You know, fair enough. I mean, it is. I don't know if you can trade it though, or can you trade it? Where does it trade actually? All right, look at this. Where does it trade? Okay, trades on Uniswap. Okay, so you can't trade it on leverage, I would imagine. Yeah, kind of difficult on that one, but fair enough. Yeah. Abatonemic says, I meant in general, but you guys are amazing. Oh, in general. You know, man, like, if anything, I feel like this channel, I think it's growing at like a good slow pace. You know, I don't think it's wise for this channel to blow up like other channels, because one of the things that I noticed when I go on a channel like BitBoy, and you know, BitBoy was honestly very, very nice to me. He's very, very professional, very you know, I only have good things to say about the person himself. But like the community there, they do not take kindly to this kind of analysis. So I think this channel is always going to be kind of a little bit on the lower side, which is fine and kind of where we want to be. And you know, I also have to remind myself, while it is kind of like a nice ego thing to have a bigger channel, it's not the most important thing to me. I mean, you know, I was gonna say it's not like a big source of revenue, but like nowadays, this channel, I mean, it is creeping up more and more, especially once it got above like 56,000 people. I always wondered how like YouTube channels would make an actual living looking at my numbers themselves, but you know, once people actually started like tuning in a little bit more, it's like, okay, yeah, you could make this work, especially in like a third world country, no problem. Anyways, Dan says, if you had your own coin, Krown USD, and held the majority of its supply, how would you best manipulate it for your own maximum personal financial gain? Okay, so how would you manipulate it for the well, you can't really manipulate some without demand. So can you artificially manipulate demand? I mean, I suppose if like I were to make videos like, buy Krown coin now, Krown coin's going to solve all of your issues. It's going to cure fucking cancer. It's going to make you rich as fuck to the point where you don't even know what to do with yourself. You'll just be catapulting yourself into outer space, living on Mars like Elon Musk. Even better than Elon Musk too. So how would you manipulate it? I mean, if you're talking about like what I'd do as far as like actually trading it, well, I mean, the obvious thing is if I hold the majority of the supply, then you can create artificial demand by just not fucking selling. You know, you could have big buy walls at the bottom, just kind of paint false supports. You could definitely do that. You know, you could do shit like that. But you do have to get around the supply demand equation. So if you hold most of the supply and there's no demand, well, good luck, right? There, you know, that's always going to be a function. So it's a multi-pronged discussion. We'd need like a situation first, and then I could say like how I would best manipulate it. But I don't know, man. There's always something that can go wrong with that too. Abbott says, this is me taking conscious responsibility. You are my therapist. No, I'm no therapist, man. I'm not trying anything like that. I've just spent a lot of time trying to learn for my own sake, you know, figure out the own demons in my fucking head. Jack Asselman says, good morning, Krown. Hey, good morning to you, man. Could you please take a look at Ethereum USD, short, medium, and long term? All right. We're right here, 1900. Again, you know, similar to a lot of altcoins, potentially does have a higher low in place. That would be the bullish look on this. How to confirm this as a higher low? I need to see a higher high above yesterday's high, which is 1993 and 70 cents. Actually, mark this area off right now with an alert, because that would be a pretty damn easy and obvious trade. If we do take out that high, I'd probably be looking for a move back up somewhere around about 2100 or so. Have to be bearish on it long term, or just not bullish on it, more importantly, as long as we're below the last weekly lower high right here at about 2320, 2325 actually. And if this thing does want to break down, I'd be looking at probably 1400, 1500 on the weekly. It looks like it wants to break down, man. Like, I'm kind of feeding you a bit of hoping right now, but hey, if we do pop back above yesterday's high, I'd look for a rally first, pump it before you dump it, and if it takes out this high right here, I mean, probably goes on for a nice tear back up to 2,800, $2,900. Always have to watch what Bitcoin does here, but where would a good continuation point for the downside be? That's actually more difficult. I don't really have a good one here. It did close on new lows, kind of broken everything that you'd be looking for. And generally speaking, you'd probably be looking for a move somewhere down around our February lows. But that'd be my hopium for that one. I don't know. Maybe you get some sort of engulfing dildo this week. Possibly, yes. But there is a lot of hopium involved in that one. At the very least, take out this high first. And then, and then we could look for a little bit of upside. Until then, it's highly risky in my opinion. So did we go over short term? Yeah, short term would be that. Daily is that right there. Weekly is this high right here. Until that happens, so I mean, downside targets are more or less the same. About 1450 to 1500 is where we'd be looking for on a bouncy bounce. If that one fails, like in a true drastically nasty crash situation, I'd be looking for this one probably somewhere down just below $1,000. Zen 626 says, hey Krown, thanks for everything. Hey, my pleasure, sir. Can you look at Cake USD on Binance? Sure. This is Pancake Derp. Is that right? It is the pancake swap. A very similar chart to Ethereum. Just not as much history here. Not a big fan of this one. Bearish as long as it's below 1620 daily. It has the same sort of potential here too on the daily. If we take out yesterday's high, to look for a nice little short-term rally, at least to like 14.25, but it doesn't really do too much for me. I need to see this weekly taken out before I look for like a greater move back up to the $21 highs or so. Until then, I mean, this is a descending triangle. I mean, this is a bearish formation right here, obviously. I mean, we really only need 2 trend lines on this one to kind of represent this one accurately. Do something like that, something like this. Being governed by the 55, I mean, you could just be, it probably does get another bounce off here, but it's running out of room, man. You can't make a mega move on this too. This would suggest probably not gonna be too hot. Gonna be down around, I would imagine, like your January lows probably. No, February lows actually $5.80, $6 or something. Somewhere down around there. So that's what I need to see on this one. As long as it's below 16.5, I'd say heavily bearish, but you can blow out a short-term upside move, no problem. Just like Bitcoin here. Habit says, absolutely, I'm not complaining. Lots of amazing people in your community and have been around a few. Yeah, definitely, man. Just can almost time your cameos with a troll bump. Lol, it's not your fault. It's the internet. Yeah, man. It is what it is, man. It's the internet. You just gotta learn to love it. You just gotta learn to love it at the end of the day. But yeah, man. One of the beautiful things about one of the beautiful things about the Discord is that because we have that alt identifier bot, I think it naturally shuffles out a strong majority of people who should not be there, which is great. It also kind of gets rid of some people who probably would be good additions there too. But man, I see you in the Discord all the time, man, and you have some really good conversations, some very high quality conversations. So I gotta give you a major shout out amongst other people in the TA channel on the general Discord as well for like really doing a good job of like having good discussions, constructive discussions. And when you do have a disagreement with someone, it's like it's the way that an adult should handle a disagreement. It's like, oh, I don't agree with this for this and that reason, and you have your opinions as well. That's fine. We're just showing each other our different points of views, and you don't need to agree with everyone on anything anyways. So yeah, man, you and definitely a handful of other people are just phenomenal members there. Absolutely. David says, Krown, how are you, sir? I'm doing all right, man. Got a good night of sleep, although my voice started to fail me now, and that means holy shit, we're only an hour and 30 minutes into this one. Weird. Bitboy got flooded with real TA knowledge and realized this guy's it was an abrupt closure there. We could say, you could definitely say that, very abrupt end. But man, it's his channel, and they got to do what they're gonna do. So it's it is what it is. But we'll see if they invite me back. Probably not, I'd imagine. So oh well, got to enjoy it while it's there, man, and just move on. There he is, Mr. Plums himself. Morning bell ends. Good morning to you, sir. X, please, Krown. We already looked at it a few times, man. Something is wrong with your keyboard, bro. At Silent Lamb seems to only print caps. Yeah, exactly. That's how you handle things in a mature way. Hey, what's up, D-Rex? Good to see you, man. There he is, Jev. Abbott says, shop on the daily. Is this a swing failure pattern? Let's check it out. Let's see. I need to take another sip of this water soon, too, man. My voice is rapidly decaying. Is this a swing failure pattern? Okay, you're looking at the daily. Let's also look at the weekly here. Yes, I would say so. I mean, you broke above your prior highs and closed back down below it. This is no breakout. Volume signature was a clear indication of this right here. I'd be looking for this one to come back down to range. It's not bearish though. I wouldn't necessarily be bearish on this, but I do think it's got some downside, like down to 1440 or 1300, or sorry, not 1340 to 1300 or so, and probably look for a bounce there. It ain't bad though. I mean, even the daily's still kind of hanging it high, but yeah, Jewel is rapidly decaying, and not a big fan of that. Anywhere around the 55 here is fair game. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got Aaron White says T-Fuel, man, daily, weekly. Okay, another altcoin. We got here, T-Fuel USD. Binance, and you're looking at daily, weekly. Bad. Not too hot right here. Kind of one of the weaker altcoins, it looks like. Although yesterday did have a decent closure, but you'd be my line in the sand for this one long term. Ah, shit. Well, I guess this still does apply here. We can just move that back on because we don't need that anytime soon. Looks like weekly. How's a weekly looking like? Yeah, weekly looks like it could very easily have a move back up to 33 cents, maybe even 34 cents. But I look at this as a major high for right now. The weekly Jewel doesn't really have enough to populate, but it did have a pretty damn good sell signal here on the 21st of June. That was not the high, but the week after. Yeah, about the week after the high, it looks like. And I do think it probably comes down to the 55 in this case overall, and that's about 20.5 cents or so. Yeah, it does look pretty top here, but short term, does it have another move back up to anywhere in like the mid 30? It's possible, yes. And I would change my mind on that. I actually would massively change my mind on that if you did take out this high right here, 42 cents, just trading above it. That would look pretty damn good for another continuation drive back up to your, around your prior like 50-cent high or so. But for right now, under pressure sideways, and maybe tries for another short-term upside move. But after that, I'd be a little bit skeptical of this one. Similar to Bitcoin, like short-term, yeah, very likely does have another upside move. Short-term, that is. All right, let's see. What else do we have over here? Let's see. All right, Nimba says, Krown, can we please look at SLR on ASX? Okay, what is this a silver miner? Is that what this is? Silver Lake Resources. Okay. And what time frames you're looking at there? Daily and weekly. Okay, daily down. Just put in a lower high right here. This one very likely comes back down towards 166, 165 region. Weekly. Weekly I don't hate long term. Yeah, weekly's not bad long term. I do think it has some short term downside. You got a couple areas of interest here. Obviously this area right here, 161, and then the big ones like 140 or so, 135. That'd be a big one and a no brainer in my opinion. The question is, do we come down there first before trying to move higher or not? Monthly says yes. I don't hate it long term though, man. But like obvious areas are down around about low 140s or so. And this is going to take some time. Daily, yeah, I'd be saying that essentially as long as we're below the last daily lower high, which is 184. So you got a bit of a range going on here, short term, something like that. And then if it breaks this area right here, I'd be looking lower. And personally speaking, I do think it will do that. I do think it will come lower and give you another major opportunity somewhere around like low 140. But that would be the ranges as I see them. Okay. We got T-Field, we got that. Abbott says, thank you very much, sir. That means a lot to me. I try to keep it professional. I mean, professional is like, professional is relative, right? I mean, professional in the Discord, the biggest rule that I have in the Discord is like, look, I don't expect everyone to get along with each other. I don't expect everyone to agree with each other. Obviously, that would be weird if that happened. It's a big fucking problem when like you do see shit like that where everyone just fucking, agrees with each other and like it becomes like a group think and cult. Like I've seen that happen in Discords before where like people become cult-like, and if someone doesn't agree with the leader, then like they're ridiculed or like they're told they can't, like talk with that person. It's just fucking weird, man. Like that's what a fucking weirdo and crazy person does. That's what someone who's not confident in their outlook does. In our Discord, it's assumed that you're gonna have disagreements with people. It's just what our rule is like, look, if you can't have a normal fucking disagreement with someone, get the fuck out. We are not a goddamn babysitting daycare for adults. That's ridiculous and disgusting. Yeah. Else says what we're not. Else had a fun time in the Discord yesterday. Some funny shit happening in there. But yeah, man, like once a name calling comes out, like that's where it's like, okay, this person, like, look, you resort to name calling when you don't have anything better to say, and when you're not that confident yourself, and when you're probably just a little bit mentally like immature anyway. So like, get the fuck out, man. So we've had those issues in the past, and we had a little bit of we had to kind of have to sit down with the mods and say like, all right, we don't want to do this. Like we're just gonna get rid of people who do this immediately. So yeah, man, we have to we only have like big thanks to say to everyone who's been a phenomenal member in that regard. So massive thank you, man. You are definitely one of them amongst many other people as well, which is just fucking great, man. I'm so happy about that. So fucking happy about that. All right, Legend LEZs, there he is. Silver is weekly, monthly. Okay. I think we looked at Silver Spot earlier, but this is an ETF, I believe, or a trust or whatever. Same thing here. Short term, I do think it probably comes down a little bit more, somewhere around about $23. But I'm not bearish on this, at least in its current stature. Yes, this ascending triangle that I drew and is like not going to work out, but that's not what it was going off of anyways. It was just kind of a projection. Realistically, you're looking at the 55 right here. As long as you're above there, especially on a closing basis, I'm not bearish here. I do think I would still have like a more long-term bullish view of this. This is very clearly accumulation for a long term. This is clearly your first markup phase and reaccumulation right here. There's nothing bearish about this thing as long as it's above about what is this, 22 and a half bucks or so. Even on a wick basis, fine. Monthly, fine. It's going to take its time. I don't think it's ready anytime soon yet. Maybe another few months before it gets another try, but yeah, man, I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. Now, if it does break the last low, I'd be looking at another move back around 21, maybe even $20 even. But for now, I run with the former assumption until proven otherwise. See what the quarterly looks like here too. I know you didn't ask for it, but yeah, quarterlies, I don't have any major issues with this right now, especially as long as you're above the last quarterly low, and that's even another buck above the other pivots. So fair enough on that one too. Okay, Jack Asserman wants to look at gold. Yeah, we can look at that one. No problem. I was actually looking at that before the beginning of the stream. 1805. By the way, quarterly on the gold. Actually, I like this one too. Kind of similar. Very similar analysis on this. As long as we maintain above the last low, the last quarterly low, it's fine. It's going to take its time. I don't think it's ready anytime soon. Just like silver. Short term, does it come down? Probably yes. Looking at daily, yep, very likely comes back down to 1760, 1765. And now you can use this last lower high right here as a continuation point. Oh, Jesus, man, there's too many damn lines because I'm looking at different time frames here. That would be 1830-ish region. Above there, I would look for another run back up to 1900 or so. But long term, I'd give this one a chance, man. It's still kind of holding in there. I don't have any major issues with this one, but short term, yeah, is very likely down. Can we come back down and grind up the 21 on the monthly here before this is all said and done? Yeah, in fact, I'd look at that as a major opportunity. And that's all the way down at about 1730 or so. And then maybe like later this year, I'd look for it to try another. I'd look for it to give another try to the upside. Nothing bearish about this on the monthly, in my opinion, as long as it's above about 1709 or so. But short term, medium term, yeah, it's going to be sideways and down. It looks like. And then I would change around my mind short term if we do check out last week's high essentially and target back up to like 1900 or so. But I don't think that's happening first. I think downside, sideways and down first, and then maybe later on. Okay, cool. Jesus Christ, man, my voice is getting absolutely shreked right now. God damn. Wait, there's a coin called D's Nuts. Is there really? Actually, I want to see this. DZ Nuts. Is this real? Nah. Well, at least it's not on TradingView, unfortunately. Can you have a look at Muppet Show? I am not familiar with the ticker of that one, unfortunately. Okay. Hey, what's up? What's up, Philson? Yeah, man, I think it's time for a sippy sip, and I can probably last another few minutes. Oh, there we go. Crypto Plurat says, but isn't Bitcoin also an accumulation? What about this is accumulation to you? I feel like, look, if you want to look at accumulation distribution, I think that looking at these fucking bullshit charts that I see on Twitter is just noise, man. Look, there's an indicator for that. There's a literal indicator for that that'll tell you whether it's been accumulation or distribution. We can look in it right fucking here. Whoops. Right here, I'll use this one. And we have a downward slope. That would suggest that we saw the majority selling in the last month. That would suggest that this is distribution right here for what it's worth. At the end of the day, man, though, I don't really care what the implications for that are. What I care about are price action levels. That's what I care about. And that's what's most tradable in my experience. Okay, when Twitch fam, man, I need, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy or I think I've already bought it. If I haven't bought it, I'm gonna buy the new DLC for Doom, and then we'll play that on Twitch. But god damn it, my voice is just getting like too wrecked right now. Yeah, we got some Durabit options. See, what did I just get hit on? What did I do here? I don't see any new positions. Did I buy another 20 lot right there? I did. No. What did I do? Recent trades. I must have bought some. Or what do I have over here? Okay, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it looks like I bought another 10 lot of 32,000 strike puts. Fair enough. I'll take them. That's expiring September, though. I suspect we will be out of this range by then. Anyways, you thought you just got executed. No, man, I think I sold. Okay, did I sell more right there? It looks like I did sell a little bit right there. I could probably sell more against that, too. I mean, that is some nice premium on that. Jesus Christ. God damn. Powerful. Very fucking powerful. See how much is offered right here. Almost 5,000. That's at 0.005. That's not going to be something that I'm interested in. But fair enough. How do you deal with people who copy your TA and don't give any credit? There's nothing you can do. You can just wave your fist at the sky and be mad about something that you can never control. Look, man, if people want to copy my TA, I don't really care that much about that. It would be nice to like be given credit, of course, but what I'd care more about is like people copying my trades, which would be a lot more concerning, you know. That would be a lot more concerning because I don't, you know, it's just for fucking obvious reasons. For one, I mean, it could be considered financial advice, which is not fucking good. Let's see, wait till Krown goes on holidays. There you go. I've actually considered doing things in the past, like giving out like literal opposite of what I think is going on, just to like see if other people would follow. And I have done that a couple times, and it actually did work, which was like hilarious. Like, because I would say things that like I know, like no one in their fucking right mind could possibly think, and then I'd hear other people repeat it like almost verbatim. There's this one guy, I'm gonna expose him at some point because this guy's a true fuck. I think this guy's a full-on fraud. I'll expose him at some point, like once he gets big enough. He's actually getting pretty damn big now too, so we'll have to deal with that. BK says, sir, AMP USD on the 4-hour daily and weekly. Okay, we can do this one. I think we'll be shutting it off after that though. My voice is like really starting to get wrecked right now. Let's see. You're looking at a 4-hour and daily and weekly. 4-hour, you know, very obvious ranges right here. It's kind of a nasty wick high right there. I wouldn't necessarily wait for that. I'd say a 4-hour closing high above 4.5 cents. I'd be looking for another move back up somewhere around your 15th of, maybe not 15th of July's highs, but this area right here at about just under 5 cents or so. Weekly, nasty. Best it can do to the upside is like 5.25. Daily. Yeah, it looks a lot similar to a lot of the other ones. I do think a lot of them have short-term upside moves here, but you know, understand where that narrative changes. Let's see. What about the monthly? This one actually has a decent amount. This one's difficult on the monthly, actually. Very difficult on the monthly. I could be both bullish and bearish on this one. Technically speaking, you should look at this as a bit of a base until we actually take out last month's low, but that's down at like 3.5 cents or so. I don't feel too confident on this one based off the monthly. Based off the weekly, I'd feel a lot more confident just calling straight up downside, but you know, after a short-term move back up, maybe 5 cents to the upside. Where's daily coming in around, about 5.25 actually. So right there. Yeah, I'd be probably long-term bearish on this one, but can it pop back up around here short-term? Yes, that's not problematic. Above there, I would extend target significantly towards 6 1/3 or so. But I am leaning more towards long-term downside on this one than anything else. All right, sweet, man. Okay, I think we have beaten this horse. What's up? Did I? What? Okay, we got one more. Oh, we got Legend LEs again. All right, there he is. What's up, man? Okay, can you look into your crystal ball? Will the weekly 21 hold on AMD, or should I wait for more pullback? All right, let's check it out. Okay, AMD right here. NAS, will the weekly hold? I think it'll bounce on the first pass, but will it hold? I don't think so. No, I think ultimately it'll come down to about 78 before this is all said and done. I still like this, actually. I'm not bearish on this. Well, monthly does say that we probably do hold it, and if we do lose it, that's going to be nasty. But here's the thing: what I'd like to see on this one is like a quick wick down to the 55, put in a higher low right there, close above the 21, and then continue with a sideways grind, and then try some upside moves. Because the monthly is like not bearish. This is just straight up not bearish. What about the quarterly? Not bearish either. especially as long as above the last quarterly low. I mean, that's just by fucking definition. I would be looking for a bouncer on first pass at the very least. 84 and 3/4. I don't think that this one's ready to like trend to the upside once again. I think it's a lot more likely it trades sideways, down, and then tries another move to the upside later on. That's what I think is probably happening here. Bullish as long as it holds this low right here. No problem with that on the long term. It's going to take its time though, I suspect. Let's see what the 6 month says. I didn't ask about this one. That does look a little more choppy, to be fair. That looks a lot more choppy, to be fair, actually. Jesus, man. What about the bi-monthly right here? No, still fine. Still fine. It's kind of the odd man out, so I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. Short term, sideways and down, but I don't think it's happening like this week, to be fair. Then again, I don't know, man. If NASDAQ does start to fall apart, then perhaps we do have a problem. Hey, what's up, Polyfarms? Appreciate that, man. Hey, that was a nice and positive message. Massive thank you for that. It's pulling my faith back in. That's awesome, man. Fuck yeah. Yeah, man. You know what I've learned with like any community from a from a general coin is like there's going to be some great people. There's going to be some less inspiring people, and I just want to say thank you for being one of the more positive people, man. Okay, cool. Let's go back on to Bitcoin. Short term. I do think Bitcoin probably has a little bit more short-term potential upside here than downside. I would like to see Bitcoin take out the weekend high essentially, and then trade back up to like 33 or so. Anywhere around there is fine, but keep in mind we do still have lower highs as long as we're below about 34,250 or so. Would still kind of keep it within the dynamics of this falling channel, which, like I did say, is statistically more resolved to the upside than the downside formation. Even the 4-hour jewel can very easily line up for another buy signal as well, especially if we do pop back above the weekend high here, or even just close back above about 32.2 or so. That would look okay. But remember, the all higher term time frame still heavy down right here. Weekly especially breaking the 55, does show that we have major resistance basically coming in around that last lower high on the daily. So while I do think it's possible, I don't think Bitcoin's breaking down today. I think if it's going to break down, it probably happens like midweek or so. So with that said, where would be my downside continuation point? It'd basically be the same areas before. Whoops, not this one right here, but this one right here. There we go. Blue box of death and decay, anywhere below there, $31,000. That'd be like that would probably do it. If you want to go by the book, you'd probably be looking for a daily below. What was it, like 33? Where is it exactly? 30? No, it's more like 30, 35. We'll call it. And then I'd be looking at targets down towards $27,000 before the next like real bounce. Until then, I'd be mindful of potential traps at around 30,000 and 27 respectively. If we saw like a move down to $30,000 and then close back above 31.5, that would look good for a bear trap and run the other way. But for right now, it looks like short term, a little bit of short term up. Come back to it after that and see what we got later on today. Anyways, with that said, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really, really fun time, really good chats here, and I will be signing off now. I want to wish you the best once again. Take care, and hopefully you enjoy these outro tunes.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, click, unclick it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, find it, drop it, crack it, lose it, curse it, pay it, to it, pay it, bar it, chart it, hide it, fight it, deal it, seal it, and unlock it, back it, send it, change it, lend it, mine it, find it, how it, test it, praise it, curse it, trash it, hash it, troll it, and upgrade it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, click, unclick it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it, hack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and